Hi, this is the Daily Overpass. My name is Eric and I make apps. Now today I want to talk about why deep down we all want to work with the freaky people. Back when I was a contractor and an employee working in London, I would have to commute into the city and out. It was like 2 hours each way. So I tried to make the best use of that time by reading a lot of computer books and things like that. So like some examples, these big old computer books. This one's on Android games, beginning Android games. This one's on head-first design patterns. These days, they're mostly on my Kindle, so it's a lot easier and better on my back. Right? But I would go into the office, so I'd read these books, I'd go into the office, I'd put the book in the drawer and get on with my day, right? And, people would make fun of me about it. They would say, Eric, like a nerd or whatever. And they're doing the same job that I was, but they weren't really educating myself. And the thing is, I didn't do it because I want to better myself. I mean, that's how it started, but mainly I found it really interesting. All the, a new technology that comes out and I think, oh, how can I use that? Is this something that can advance my career? And I would read up on it. And every time I'm thinking, can I use this on an app? Can I use this on a project of my own? All that kind of stuff. I found it really interesting and that's why I kept doing it. And like I said, people would make fun of me. And then one person even asked, he said, Eric, aren't you afraid that because you come in here and you're as a contractor especially, you're paid more than the permanent people? And somebody had asked if I was afraid that if other people saw me reading that book, they would think I didn't know the technology as well as I claimed to. So, and it was one of these strange things that had never occurred to me, right? And it wasn't even something that bothered me because it hadn't been a problem ever, and nobody ever said anything like that. But to his mentality, it was he didn't want to be seen looking up anything or doing any kind of educational research because it would show everyone that there were things that he could improve on, right? When I think about that, I think about like an audiobook by Brian Tracy that I listened to years ago, where he talked about if you had to go see a doctor, a specialist, and you went to go see two different doctors, one of them had a library behind him, he was reading all the latest periodicals, he was up to date with everything in the industry, and you had that guy, and you went to another guy who said he just learned as he goes. When a problem comes up, he learns how to fix it, and then he goes, everything is based on experience. Right? Which one of those would you choose? And for me, I would choose the one who was on top of the industry, who was excited and passionate about everything in the medical industry. So this is one of the things I think about. But mostly I think about Nicolas Cage. So I don't know if you've ever seen the movie The Rock, right? The Rock is one of my favorite movies, right? And it's got like this ridiculous premise. It's got really corny dialogue, right? It's the kind of thing I would have liked when I was 12, and I still like to watch it now. I mean, I could watch that as many times as it's on, right? But there's a scene where Nicolas Cage is the chemistry weapons specialist, the chemical weapons specialist, and all the big tough soldiers around him, and somebody says to him, so what, so you're a resident chemistry freak? And he says, no, super freak actually. And then he goes on to say why the missile's going to destroy the world and everything like that. So, but it was that phrase, no, super freak, he completely owned it, right? And when I think about the people I like to work with, the people that as colleagues, people I like to hire, people on my team, it's the super freaks that I really enjoy working with. The people who are, it's almost like the tasks that you give them are an annoyance because they want to do really cool stuff outside of that. Right? An example is our designer, Sandy. She's constantly doing watercolors and different designs and outside of work, and then when she comes into work she does what we ask, but then she's also asking, can we do watercolors for this? I'm thinking, watercolors? Yeah, and just different types of stuff. And the more I started, at first I was thinking, no, let's just do icons and apps. But then after a while I'm thinking, no, you know what? We don't have anything for you to do. Go up and do something really cool. And that's why we have so many graphic assets, and everything else is easy because she's completely into design. She's and not just app design, not just CSS, not one specific thing that's relevant to her job, but just the field in general. And that's something I really like. When I hire somebody, a lot of times I'll ask, can you tell me about this technology or that technology, specifically something that's not related to what they're working on at the moment. And the worst thing I hate to hear, the thing I hate to hear the most is oh, my boss wouldn't let me work on that. Or, you know, that wasn't what I asked you. I was asking, what do you know about that? Right? I had a conversation with a developer last week where he kept going on about how we can improve the structure of the flow that I had designed. So I designed an architectural flow for a project for a client app, and he was arguing with me about how it could improve the efficiency and the security if it went his way, right? Now, most developers wouldn't do that to me. They'll just say, okay, yeah, whatever you want, I'll do it, right? But he was coming to me with his complaints, which can be annoying. It can be annoying, but then ultimately I'm looking at it, okay. So no, I don't agree with you. I don't, you know, and then he's going, you know, oh, okay, I see what you mean, right? Those are the people I love to work with. When I work with colleagues, you work with somebody, you say, hey, what'd you do this weekend? And they go, I was building this application on my own, trying to see if I could get this thing to work, right? And I'm thinking, you know, and those are the kind of people I like to work with, and it's very, very rare working with those freaks, right? So if you ever go to a job interview, or if you meet with clients, that super freak mentality, that's, in my opinion, and what has always worked for me, is that's how you want them to see you. You don't want to hold back and think, oh, I don't want them to think I don't know my stuff, right? You want to think, no, I want them to know that I am fully 100% interested in this industry. I know what's going on. I know that, you know, the trends that are coming up. I could talk about it all day, you know, that kind of stuff. As opposed to somebody who says, oh, I just hired the, like, you know, so many people have told me that I should act this way. I just hire the people. I'm more of an entrepreneur, you see. I hire the people that I need, and you know, it works. No, I'm an app developer. There's a reason I say I make apps, because I'm passionate about it. And I know that you guys are too. So that's why it's such a pleasure to talk to you guys every day. Anyway, let me know what you guys think. I mean, do you have any problem, you know, reading computer books in front of other people? Do you think that it's going to somehow diminish your assumed knowledge? Anyway, that's it for today. I will talk to you guys tomorrow.